This man can reward himself, of course. Bathurst was on the weekend and one of the best.
Great race.
Had absolutely everything. Cars on fire, rain, wind, you name it. But Garth Tander and Jamie Whincup paired up in the Toll HRT team to stand on top of the mountain for the first time in a while. Although, Cage, 10 years ago, his first start in the V8s, Garth Tander, first start, won it. It's taken him a while to get back up there, but he wasn't in a hurry.
He's there now.
He is. He's on his way home. He joins us now. Garth, how are you?
Good, thanks, guys. How are you?
Well, very good, mate. To go from speeding around the track at 300 kilometres an hour to driving the camper van back home with your wife must seem a little surreal.
Yeah, we get a bit slower today, but I think yesterday we did 1,000 kilometres in just over 6.5 hours, and today it'll be about 10.5. So, bit of a change of pace, but a good way to unwind after the race yesterday.
Garth, congratulations. Would that go down as one of the great Bathurst races of all time?
Well, it's hard to know because when you're in the middle of it all, you concentrate on what you're doing yourself that you're sort of a bit oblivious to all the other action that's going on around you. So I'll have to get back and sit down and watch it on TV myself and see how it all unfolded for everyone else. But everyone that I've spoken to said it was pretty good on TV.
Oh, yeah. It was sensational. The changing conditions, the lead changed about, what, 19 times? It was just, sit down and watching it, Garth. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bathurst has got an amazing way of throwing up an interesting race, hasn't it? And you only have to look at the weather yesterday, how it started west, dried out, rained again, dried out.
Yep.
All the action that was taking place, like you said in the intro, cars on fire and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it just never ceases to amaze and never ceases to impress. And, you know, I think that's why we all love the place so much, and that's why it means so much to win up there.
Garth, it was an unusual day, I mean, with the weather, and you've talked about it. Then the lead changes, and then I think the car came out 8 times for incidents. And at what stage of the race did you think you had? I think it was about lap 60. You started to slip behind a little bit, and obviously you're not going to catch it up in one lap. So I guess my first question is, what was your mindset when you think you're slipping a little bit behind and you know you've got about 60 laps to go?
Well, at Bathurst, you're never out of the race. I mean, as long as you're close enough at about lap 130, you're still in with a chance. And, you know, as we saw yesterday, with that late safety car, it changed the back, or the last 2 spots on the podium, I think, in the last 2 laps of the race. So, you know, as long as you're somewhere up near the front and you know you've got a good car, you're never out of it. And that's how we felt. We knew we had a very good car. We led for the majority of the first half of the race, and you know, we had a few things not quite go our way with weather and safety cars and all the rest of it. But, you know, we knew we had a good car, and it was just a matter of biding our time. And that, like you said, not trying to get back to the front in one lap, just pace ourselves and get back there in a methodical way. And then, you know, as I said, with 25 laps to go, we popped out in front and we managed to pull a gap right before that late safety car.
Exactly, Garth. Talking about cars, nice to see the Holdens back where you obviously feel they belong. Unbelievable.
Yeah, amazing result for Holden. I mean, it's been a very, very lean patch for Holden at Bathurst over the last 3 years. So to come back and have all 3 cars cleaning up the podium, and then I think it was 9 cars inside the top 10.
Correct.
It's just an amazing effort, an amazing result. And I'm not sure whether that's some sort of record or not for Bathurst, but I mean, it's a very, very great result for Holden, and great for all the Holden supporters because they've had a bit of, like I said, a bit of a lean patch of supporting cars at Bathurst, so it's great for them.
Garth, a lot of talk about the fuel before the race and how that was going to go. Did it change the tactics much?
Yeah, it did. There's certainly a lot more strategy involved, and then when you tie that in with the weather, the way it was coming in and out, and whether you wanted to be on wet tyres or dry tyres, and then you had to dovetail that in with when you needed to fill the tank up with fuel. As far as strategy went, it was a very, very tough race. And, you know, really it was pretty much the luck of the draw. If you got the right tyre call for when you needed a full tank of fuel, you could make one less pit stop than everyone else. So, you know, we had to make a few strategy calls in the middle part of the race. And that's probably where we fell a bit behind in the middle part of the race, but then came back on strong at the end.
Gee, Garth, where Bathurst is concerned, there's always incidents and drama, and Jason Bugwana didn't hold back having a crack at young Whincup, said he's lost respect for him when Whincup evidently pushed him aside, so a bit of drama there.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that incident. I've heard a little bit about it, so I can't really comment on the incident, but, you know, as all racing car drivers, there'll be 2 sides to every story, no doubt, and each one will think they're right, but you know, at the end of the day, it's Bathurst, and you've got to lay it on the line because it's the biggest race of the year, and you've got to do what it takes to get the job done.
Well, if
Exactly
you'd
right.
stop being at the front of the race all the time, you'd be able to tell us what happened at the back of the race. I don't know what's going on. Mate, second win in a row for you. Of course, you had the big win down there at Phillip Island about a month ago. So obviously the cars, I mean, you know, we have all the tactical side and the way you guys drive, but you do need the cars to stay in order, and obviously the cars are just running beautifully at the moment.
Yeah, look, reliability of our cars has been fantastic, and car speed's been great. For HRT now, we've won 5 of the last 6 races in the series at the moment. So, you know, we're on a real roll at the moment. It's fantastic to have won Bathurst because, you know, obviously everyone knows what such a big event that is, but also the amount of work that goes in the background by the crews is just awesome. So to get that victory was fantastic, and it helps us both with our championship challenges. So, you know, it's all good at the moment. We go to the Gold Coast in 2 weeks' time on a really, really big high.
Well, Garth, congratulations. Can we sneak a moment and have a chat to your wife, Leanne, please? Because she would have been pleased with her performance at the weekend as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put her on. Thanks very much, guys.
Good on you, Garth. Well done.
Hello, Leanne.
Hello.
Leanne, congratulations. Finishing 7th, you would have been delighted with that.
Finished 18th. Yeah, it was really good. It was a long day, and it was a bit hairy when it started to rain. I was out there then, so just to keep it on the track and not hit anything or run into the gravel was great.
And when it changes, the conditions change like that, how different is it for you as the driver? I mean, obviously, you know, everyone knows they've driven in the wet, but they wouldn't have a grasp of
Bathurst,
300 kilometres an hour, how difficult that is. Does it suddenly make massive changes?
It really does. I mean, you go from, it's pretty much on the limit anyway when it's dry and you've got the slick tyres and you've got the car right on the limit. So once it starts to rain, and we do put the wet weather tyres on, but we lose a lot of grip, and suddenly, you know, you're having to treat everything like it's made of glass, I guess, and so such a fine line between going fast in the wet and running off into the gravel.
Is there any part of the track for you that was more hairy than any other?
Probably coming down from Skyline and down towards Forest Elbow. I mean, it's quite fast there, and really, if you get it wrong in any part of that area, the only place you're going is in the wall.
Oh.
So it was a little bit hairy, and I probably went a little bit carefully through there just to make sure that didn't happen.
Leanne, what about the car? Were you happy with the way the car went for you?
Yeah, the car was great all weekend. We were really lucky. It was behaving a lot better than it did at Phillip Island, and it wasn't quite right there. So we've had a test since, and it was behaving well, and it just ran faultlessly all weekend. So we were lucky that we managed to finish.
Leanne, you know, we sit down and we read about you going with a plan for the race. I mean, how much time do you spend with Tim working out the plan on how you're going to attack the race?
Well, you can't spend too much time. I guess the guys at the front, like Garth, they probably spend a bit more time because they're out there to win it. Whereas for me and David, our first goal was to finish and then try and get into the top 15. So for us, we were always going to be a bit flexible with our plans. Try and work in, when you're in our position, you probably try and work in with what's going on at the time, like, you know, the safety cars and the weather. And, you know, for us, I probably stayed on the wets a bit longer than most of the others because that was just a safer option and more comfortable option for me. But, you know, when you're trying to win the race, you probably end up jumping onto the slicks maybe a little bit early. And so, you know, it changes all the time in a race like that, especially when the weather keeps changing.
So, Leanne, what's next for you now?
I'm not sure. I'm going to try and get a budget together to either do development series or the main series next year full time. So that's probably what I'm going to work on for the rest of this year.
Yep.
Hopefully I can get out there, and also I'll definitely try and get back in the Enduros as well.
All right, so driving back with Garth now in the camper van, how often do you have to have a pit stop and change over?
Well, we've had one pit stop so far.
Yeah.
That's about it. You know, we're both a little tired because, you know, we went out last night to celebrate the win, so we'll probably change regularly just to make sure there's no accidents.
Well, Leanne, well done to finish in the top 10. A great performance, and also to Garth. So it's been a big weekend for the tennis. We thank you for your time, Leanne.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks,
Well done.
Leanne.
Good on you, Leanne.
Garth and Leanne, husband and wife team there. And, fantastic job, Leanne, finishing seventh.
Yeah. I mean,
Anything in the top 10, you'd be wrapped with that.
you know, it's funny, though. You're thinking they're zipping around this
Oh,
track yesterday.
zipping around.
300 kilometres an hour. Pull in, the pits, tyres are going, petrol's going in, everything's happening 100 miles an hour. Then the next day you jump in the car with someone that you're racing against.
Yeah, and driving home.
Just amble on home. Imagine you first pull into the petrol station. You'd sit there going, oh, I guess I've got to do that. It'd be funny if you saw them driving home, they had their helmets on.